let us look at the phones. We know very well we can't communicate without using the phones. Most of our phones here are made from China. These ones, they ease our communication sector. Actually, they are cheaply imported to our country, and therefore they help to buffer this communication industry rather than destroying them.
Another industry that we can be proud for is the Karioko recycling industry in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, where plastic waste are recycled into polythene bags that can be sold to people. That's why we say, despite the fact that these slums portray us as being people who can't afford the cost of living in the nation, but we have something to be proud of.
Welcome to the Great Debaters Contest. This is our Connect edition, where we seek the opinions of past debaters who excelled at it, and we find out what they think of the motions we're handling today, and specifically in Kakamega region. I am your host, Mariam Bishar.
And I am Austin Yumbok. So may we have our panelists introduce themselves?
Hi, I'm Julie Kiruma. I study actual science in Chikot Karen.
Hi, I'm Joseph Njao, social media strategist.
I'm Stephanie Washira. I'm a medical student at University of Nairobi.
Okay, very well. Welcome, Stephanie. Welcome, Joe. Now, the first motion we're going to be discussing is St. Peter's Seminary versus St. Monica Chakol School. The motion is cheap imports have led to the decline of local industries. Do you think that the fact that we have made many trade agreements with foreign countries and it has led to us forgetting that we can be self-sufficient in terms of producing our own goods?
Okay, on the fact of being self-sufficient, I'd love to say we as a country have the ability to be self-sufficient using our own products and actually exporting them to gain more revenue, because I tend to look at medium businesses or small medium businesses and what they're doing for our economy. You know, that is something Kenyan, because these are initiatives that have been started by ordinary people, and they are pushing it forward, working hard as they can, and as we can see, they're pushing the economy. And that also is something that we have to applaud as a nation. But now when you start scrutinizing everything, that's when you start looking at now big companies that are already established, and then you start asking questions. Not most of them seem to be started by Kenyan themselves, or the major owners. Most of them aren't Kenyans, and that's when now we start to draw questions. But we have to give credit where it's due.
Okay, let me ask Julie a question. One of the biggest examples that's given of cheap imports killing the local industries is in textile. And we say not mitumba or second-hand clothes killed our textile industry completely and our clothing industry. So do you think as a starting point, for example, if you wanted to rebuild the textile industry here, you know, all the way down from like pyrethrum farming, we should ban mitumba clothing?
No, we shouldn't. I'm not looking in terms of those ones who are planning to the textile industry. I'm looking in terms of why those people are selling mitumba clothes. You know, it's not like I want to sell mitumba clothes. I'm doing it so that I can get money. Mm-hmm. So if you find a way to give me a job, yeah, they think they should do it. But the tricky thing about Kenyans are, you come up with something or idea, then you select it in another range. You give prices like 10,000 for just a dress. Not everyone can afford that 10,000.
I can actually justify that 10,000 per dress.
Yeah, why are you selling a dress?
You need to make a profit range, and you know the thing is, the guy who sells mitumba, the guy who sells a mitumba dress at 200 will sell 50. He got it very cheap, almost for free,
yes.
And will sell so many of them in one day that he makes a profit.
No problem.
You sell one a week.
No problem. But those people who are selling, trust me, I don't think that dress can cost you 10,000.
I can actually attest to that.
Yeah, I can decide. I can just decide.
I can literally justify why that dress costs 10,000.
No, but let's say if that's the case, then I can decide to go to Masai Market. I buy this attire, the shukas.
Shuka.
Yeah, I go buy and I'll fave my jacket. That would be like how much? 2,000 maximum.
That actually 2,000 is a lot of money.
Exactly.
However,
so do you understand why it won't make sense why if you ban mitumba, you're actually harming so many people, and the people you're giving me as an alternative does not make sense as an alternative.
No, hold on.
I feel like they don't understand the market, the
True.
local people who want to make clothes, they don't understand the market. Like she's saying, if you sell a dress at 10,000, and I have been into malls and I look at a jacket and it's sold for 11,000, and I stop touching it just in case, I tear something and I don't have
My client
11,000 on
goes
me.
home with you.
Yet I can clearly see where I can get the same thing at 500 shillings, same quality. And the thing is this, even when you look at other markets of textile in other countries, they have a range. So there is Chanel for the stars, but there is also another range that they have for normal people. You can find jeans that is affordable for a normal person, and you do not need to be a superstar to afford Chanel. And that's the range that they do not understand. They want to make all shirts all within the range of, the cheapest thing there was 2,000, which is a shirt that I honestly cannot see how even making that came to 2,000. But that's how they want to price it. So if the cheapest thing will be 2,000, then there's a possibility people will walk away from that very fast because they cannot afford it, and you need to have that range in mind, even as you're making your products. Who do I want to reach? Who can I not reach? And I think that's where we need to get to. If we want to really move textile away from foreigners, we need to then create that range locally.
Do you think as a country, apart from just cheap imports, do you think that maybe the fact that we cannot produce or match the quality of these imports is to blame and has caused the decline of local industries?
Yeah, I would say that. But also, I would need to highlight the fact that in sometimes when it comes to local products, I find the industry already is so much flooded with foreign goods, and some of them are foreign yet subsidized. So you find they're cheap and they're foreign. Yeah, and there you'll find a local guy trying as much as possible to make his product and try to sell it out there, and he knows that by selling it at this price, and I'm trying to sell local product, they won't leave the market. They will even leave the shelves. So what does it do? So it tries and sees the people who appreciate that kind of product, and it tries to target them. So normally what we can do is that we can try and sensitize the people who try and create local content to learn how to target specific markets. So that if you are targeting the rich, make something that will target them. If you're targeting the middle class or even the lower class, find a way that you can be able to penetrate into this market, tap into this market, and trust me, we won't be having the same discussion of foreign products are of flooding our markets. You'll be able to stand as a brand, and also you'll be able now to at least make a living. So the best thing is for us to know where to target, how to target the market, and how best to take our goods out there.
Okay, so we'll wind up that debate, and I want to bring in St. Peter's Honga and Ingotse Boys. They tackled an issue that is really recent. Prevalence of slum tourism has led to the negative portrayal of Africa as a third world continent.
I support that motion all my heart.
Wholeheartedly.
Recently, I read this article on Facebook, which made so much sense. I'm not saying in a bad way, but it was that the superstars, or I can call them that way, the Hollywood guys or the musicians, use celebrities, use everything we have, mostly everything, our beats, our clothing, most of everything, but they can't come to our country to perform. South Africa is not, okay. South Africa is part of the, but that is not Africa. So now the issue here is, they think that we are just. That is even why come? You can come to Kenya, but the reason someone can just say, "I'm going to Kenya." Oh, so you're going to help the needy people in Kenya? Are you understanding?
Yes.
It's
I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
but is it wrong? Okay, first of all, like you said, they use everything of ours, but they can't perform. I always try to think, for them to make a profit margin, it might not be very possible. If they
Because
perform,
you will
more
not
like
pay
charity. How many of us will pay
5,000?
but will most of them want to?
I think they would if they could make profit. But on the issue of the tourism, I don't think like if I came to Kenya, let's say I was a celebrity, a big shot from somewhere else, right? And I visited this country and I wanted to get a sense of the entire country, right? I would say, you know what, this is the home of like the Big Five and the Masai Mara. I'd go there. I'd be like, hey, I hear they have nice beaches. I go to Mombasa and to Lamu.
Yeah.
But also there's slums. So I go and do my part and visit a slum, for example. Like go spend time in Kibra or Mathare or
hold on.
something.
Remember,
and I take
Judge-
selfies and I post, and then you say, "Oh, slum tourism." Is that necessarily correct?
But it depends on how you publicize it, yeah? Because I can decide to publicize tourism 90%, 10% slum. That's
They do
okay.
it the other way around.
So then they're doing the other way around. You do it 90%. It's like, now, if I come and do
they
that.
actually focus on the
Exactly. It's like you're
problems
focusing on the problem.
instead of our beauty.
Exactly. But for the Madonna, I saw she actually came to help also with our first lady, with the issue
Beyond
about.
Zero campaign.
Exactly. That was actually good. And that's something, that's the thing, no one knew about, most more people know about that issue because you've not seen it. And maybe it's because maybe she publicized mostly about the slum, than that's what she came to do.
Okay.
So that's how you should know how to publicize it.
Okay, you agree with that, Joseph?
Here's the bottom line. First of all, you need to accept that we do have slums in Kenya. And when a person from outside decides to come and do something, maybe charity or to come and visit the slums, it's not bad. You see, if you look at like the guys in the slum, how they will react when seeing such a person coming and visit, and how they react when seeing a local person coming and visit. Now, which one is of more benefit? So I think we should learn from it. It's like she's come all the way from there to come and help people here in the slum. What are we doing as a people right here on the ground?
Last comment. I want to ask Stephanie a comment just before we go to break. Do you think, how do we kill slum tourism then? Because I think we clearly agree it's negative. You know, there's nothing wrong with people coming in and helping, but how do we kill slum tourism to the extent that there's places you go and they'll charge you to go see the slum if you're an outsider? Yeah, I know.
That would be strange.
Yes,
though.
it's a thing.
But
I'm not
knowing
making
Kenya,
stuff
that
up.
can work.
It's a thing. So how do we kill slum tourism?
I feel like slum tourism is really propagated by what we call a single story. Out there, they just have a single story of Africa, created by the media. Africa is not Africa until we are fighting with each other for political reasons. We are not Africa until we are poor and impoverished. So no one will go and take photos of the beautiful lands where people are building big houses in, Karen and wherever. That's not Africa. Africa is only Kibera and wherever, because that's the story that they want. Just they don't want to expand what Africa is. As we are growing as a people, they do not want to expand with us. And I feel the first thing we should do is try and break that story. Show them that no, Africa is improving. We are not jungle people living with monkeys as they believed. We are evolving. We are evolving. And the same houses that they have out there and facilities, we have just as much. And that is what we need to start showing.
Okay, now, thank you. Please join us on Twitter at Great Debaters EA. Let us discuss and let us understand, do you think that as a people, we have left our country and our problems be used for commercial value that do not quite benefit ourselves? Catch you after the break.
Take a look at some of the county roads today. Back in my home village where I come from, that is Amagoro. Whenever it rains, we witness a roadshow. Why? Motorists showcase different tactics of somersaulting because somebody in the devolution government didn't do their homework properly.
One of our dailies dated Sunday, July 3rd, 2015, man waves his phone in church ceremony. Man waves his phone in church ceremony in Los Angeles, USA. Is this the route that social media is doing to us? Is this where we want to head? Do you want to marry a phone or do you want to marry a lifelong companion? Let us stick by the biblical views. Let us embrace interpersonal communication for a better tomorrow. Thank you.
Welcome back to the show. We hope you've been tweeting us and engaging with us on at Great Debaters EA. We want to move on to some more debates now between Mukumu High School and Igunga, and they are debating on whether a devolved system of government is better than a unitary one. So, Stephanie, devolved government versus a unitary system, which one would you go for if you were the one deciding for us?
I feel like I'm not sure which of the two I prefer, because like him, I stand at the point of dictatorship. Because I feel devolution especially has too many layers of government, and there's so many, it's so much
Cracks and
easier to
loopholes.
sip through, for money to sip through all those layers, you know? It's so much easier for you to steal now because, I mean, who knows who runs where? Because there's a governor, there's a senator, there's an MP, there are MCAs, women rep. There's so many people whose duties are overlapping and they all do the same thing. You don't know, when I face this, who am I going to? And we're paying all those people. So really what we're doing is that you can have someone who has done nothing really through the whole term, get their salary and move on. Because if I don't do it, people will shout at the governor or the senator or who, and no one really knows whose job it is. So I feel like devolution has too many layers, and it's now easier to just have money sipping through because of all the hands that it goes through.
Okay, it's easy to argue. As much as devolution has many layers for corruption or for money to seep through, spill through and everything, there's also the flip side, which is positive, which is that it's much easier to get to the grassroots level, and it's easier to, to reach the Mwananchi as opposed to just the unitary government. I don't know, Joseph or Julie, if you have an opinion on that.
Could I also say something?
Yeah, just say.
We came up with 47 counties, right? And 47 different small governments within. We are a country that's, the square footage is one American state, just one. And we cannot behave as if we have so many people and so much to control, and they just have, they're a huge country, that's why they can have states, because it's so huge to govern America as a whole. But Kenya as a whole, we are the equivalent of one state. So do we actually need all that manpower, given the square footage and the number of people there? I don't feel it's really necessary.
Actually, your argument is very valid, because we usually, when we're teaching the Kenyan constitution or creating boundaries for counties, those are the things that we need to put account, as in, if we're going to have 3 constituencies in this particular county, yes, is this county big enough to hold three constituencies? Does it really need 3? Can it have 2? You understand? And I think that was where we failed in outlining, because fine, I'm for devolution somehow, because I love the objective. Give power to the person at the bottom, such that he doesn't have to go far up top to get help. Understand? But as you wanted to ask Joe, do you think that devolution in itself, despite the many layers, serves its purpose effectively based on the track record that we've had since the promulgation of the new constitution?
Okay, let me take you a little bit further than that. I'm looking at how Kenya used to be before we promulgated the new constitution. And again, I'm looking at how Kenya is after we promulgated the constitution. And there's a huge difference, You can see at least more people are getting involved in the governance of the country, in the running of the country, and more people are beginning to appreciate the fact that I'm not just electing any other person to go and run my county or to go and run the country. People are feeling like the women are feeling represented. The young people are feeling represented. Like everybody has a piece of the stake, and it's something that we've been crying for a long time until now. For more so, we are seeing development coming to the grassroots, because at least it's not about development being controlled from the state office. We are having governors who at least can be held accountable for development within their counties. Counties are already starting to implement their own taxes. Apart from the national taxes, they're beginning to bring in now new taxes. And this is now where you can find, like, as an ordinary citizen, you feel a bit this is too much.
The pinch starts to get to you.
And that's now that's when now we start to bring in questions we're looking at now. If devolution starts doing this now, was it really necessary for us to have devolution? And then I just like to look on the bright side and say, yes, we have all these parks with devolution, and the constitution is only 5 years old until now. 6 actually. So like in 6 years' time is not enough time to gauge how devolution care has worked, because it's too a short time. I think what we can do is just hold on a little bit more, give it more time. Let our legislatures, as they encounter problems, refine. They continue refining whatever we have until we have one good constitution that is for everybody, and devolution actually would work, because with devolution, basically, I'm seeing a brighter side.
And before Julie, you bring the house down, I want to ask you a question. We give it more time. She's talked about there being layers. So we're giving it more time for these layers to perpetuate corruption, basically devolved corruption and embezzlement of public funds.
So when
So
you
by
bring
the time we're evaluating 5 years down the line, we'll say, okay, fine, devolution has come a long way. We're celebrating 10 years of devolution. But why are we celebrating billions and billions lost?
Thank you for asking that question. Now, let us do away with devolution, all right? For me, let us just do away with devolution, isn't it?
Okay,
Now,
hold on.
if
give
we do away,
Julia
just
the-
one question,
Let
just
him
one
answer
single
you.
question. If we do away with devolution and still billions of shillings are still lost, will you say it was because we did away with devolution?
But
Now,
we're
here, listen. The moment we start doing away with the devolution is the moment you take power from the ordinary Mwananchi, because that was one of the intentions why we went for devolution.
I think for you guys,
Hold on.
the negatives are
You're looking- yes.
We are a corrupt. Okay, this is a
That's
very
why I said
sad
I'm
thing.
looking at
We're
the
a
bright
corrupt
side.
people by
That is why I
nature,
said I'm looking at the bright
Whether you
side.
give us devolution
No,
or
no,
a
no.
unitary government, we will find ways.
This is what I'm saying.
We have to close the gaps, but that doesn't mean that the system itself has a problem.
Hold on,
Just
hold
my
on.
opinion,
So,
though. But I want to ask Julia a question. Wait.
can I first answer? Can I
yes.
first say my comment?
Answer and then
Then you ask me the-
answer and then
then?
also answer if devolution has lived up to your expectations since 2010 and since the new government, Uhuru's government.
Okay. There's a mindset I really hate. Before you do something, you should see the long run. Before you create something, you should see what it'll do. So I don't support we give it time to work. No, before you implemented it, you could have seen the time, and you could have worked the first year, second year, third year. So I don't say, as he said, if you give it more time, is when loopholes will be created. And as eliminating devolution, we're actually eliminating one problem, so that you can look in other problems. It's like you're narrowing down to how the billions of money disappeared. So I really don't want it to be given time. If it's not effective, it's not effective. It should go.
But
Simple.
Julie, I differ with you, Kidogo. Let's not do away with it, Kidogo, but let us concentrate, because you
Yeah.
used a very, very proper word, layers. Let us remove some of those layers that we feel are
Exactly.
unnecessary. Fine, I told you the concept of devolution is good, because I don't have to come to Nairobi to get my ID. I can get it in Mombasa. I don't have to register for a passport in Harambee House. I can do it in immigration in Mombasa. So that's the beauty of it. But now, how about we reduce some of those layers that we feel, now this individual has a duplicated role in this particular,
Yeah.
in this particular
But I
scene.
think-
Let's limit that, because fine, you said we're corrupt people by nature, but don't you think that by reducing the amount of people handling public funds,
I agree
Yeah.
with you on
Yeah.
that
But
one. 100%.
to answer your question, yes, devolution has worked to me in some sectors. In health sector, it has actually worked.
Yeah.
I've seen some. It's better.
Improvements.
It's better. It doesn't
Okay.
work.
Better.
For me, working is something that's better than before.
Okay.
That's something better it has done. If education, like remember we had that argument about education, it'd be now a little bit tricky. But I understand why devolution was done, because now if a county hasn't done its work, won't blame the government. Will blame the person who's
governor
in
and
charge.
the people
Yeah,
in
exactly.
charge. Okay.
And that's what our government needs to know. The Uhuru needs to know. Other guys need to know that. Our president needs to know that it's not their fault. They need to blame the
people in charge at the grassroots.
So that if the people in charge see, oh my God, we have to do ABCD because ABCD has to see if I've done work, they'll have a lot of pressure to do it. And trust me, who doesn't want to be the top in their class and top in their county? And that's what we're not understanding.
Don't leave the mic, Julie, because I want us to move on to the next
next
motion,
one.
and it's your sector completely.
it's
Nyangori
totally
High
you,
School
totally you,
versus
Julie.
Butere High School, and they were debating on whether they feel like social media has killed interpersonal communication. So yes, straight yes or no. I know it's a tricky one for you.
No.
Or are we better off without interpersonal communication anyway?
Hey, Maria, we
no.
can't- no. As in, we should have
I framed it
instead
as a
instead of
question,
you and
but-
I hosting the show, we should like be on Twitter like.
Hey guys.
140 characters. Yes.
But
Twitter chats are so
I-
helpful, but
Oh,
answer
please.
Julie.
I don't agree with that motion completely, because I think social media has actually helped us in getting in touch. Like right now, I can use this WhatsApp, which it's actually cheaper, if I can say, than using bundles. I mean, using credit. There is Snapchat. I don't have to be calling you every single day to know what you're doing. or to know if you're alive. Snapchat can tell me.
To know if you're
Exactly, to know if you're alive.
True.
Snapchat will tell me, yo, Mariam is
That's why
alive.
they
So
want-
if Mariam
She's
doesn't
dead.
post for 2 days, she's dead.
It's something tricky, you know.
Let me
I
check
have
up
to
on her.
let me check. You know, that's something like let me check upon
Really?
Mariam
That's
because
where we are right now.
But it has helped, you know, because Mariam, if let's say we meet right now and I say, hi, my name is Mariam, hi, my name is Julie, we talk, be like, give me your Snapchat handle. You've made a friend so fast.
Even without that, even like assuming we didn't know each other, but we follow each other on
On
social media
Instagram
other-
or something.
when we
If I
meet,
see
we're
her,
not
I'm like,
complete
oh,
strangers.
I've
It
known
won't be
you,
like,
I've seen you
yeah,
somewhere.
I follow
Exactly.
you. And I think that wraps it up for this episode. So thank you so much, Joseph. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Stephanie, and Austin. That's very interesting.
Really? I'm the last one, okay.
Yes. Remember to interact with us on social media at Great Debaters EA on Twitter, Great Debaters Hunters Kenya on Facebook, and on YouTube. Watch our videos, get to see what the students are doing. They have amazing debates out there, and of course our panel discussions as well. I have been your host, Mariam Bashar.
And I'm Austin Yumbok. Handle your handles carefully.